I found this dance hall tape. Someone may have put it on my table. I am a big fan of rockers or dance hall, and the reason is I grew up on it being raised by three different black mothers, different timelines, which I only stay in contact with one because of everything that went on. Now, to make the story more interesting, not only do I like the music of a small island like Jamaica, but I also like Mongolian throat music and everything out there. I don't think there's nothing I don't like, including food. I love it all. I'm one of those people that just loves it all. I do Mongolian throat music as well. However, at one point in the story, they changed the vocal cords. They wanted me in a morbid outfit and they canceled the music studio. That was hobby like because my mom does singing classical music and she does it in Turkey. That's mom number one. Now, if there's an insane story, it would be this one because it's not about the dance hall stuff or the Mongolian music. It's just the fusion and it's so damn colorful. To make matters worse, I had a freak accident that everybody witnessed, about 1 million people, where the inside of the triangles in my hands bled. And it looked like I was looking at hell because it was like black. It was a freak accident. And it doesn't help that my black and white collection of photos looks like Christ's sister. Now, these are all fluke things, but I wasn't given the name Prophet Hannah because of the religious component of it. I was given the name Prophet Hannah because of the intel portion of it and how well I did. So in 2003, I was doing ethics with Iraq and all of that. Now, why would someone like myself, who grew up in housing, be interested in ethics? You just gotta watch the entire movie because it's not about the war mechanism, it's about existence. And we are trying to do that movie. Now, add the cherry to the top, in 2018, because of combat, I really did die and survive. And it's probably going to be known as the biggest, most expensive medical in the history of the earth that even my kids aren't aware of, in the sense that I was pulled away, a double was brought in, and they're trying to make the family as normal as possible. But this is based off an insane true story. So what it is remember, every time this person walks, it's an explosion like Michael Jackson, and we can't control it. And it doesn't start now, it starts in Ararat, where I was conceived. So every time I take a step, it's another explosion. And I don't do these things on purpose. It's just like winning the Powerball 2 times in a row. It's just really interesting. Now, if you are atheist, again, do follow because it's so into early human. There's a whole section on linguistics and anthropology and existence and Lawson and all of that. Like, it touches on everything because when you take a blonde child and you stick it into Harlem in the late 70s, that child grows up analyzing things because she's different. It's like the ugly duckling story. She's just different. She's different. She comes from wealth. She can't grasp what's going on as to what. And in the story, what makes it more interesting, like about 20 years ago, you should have seen her face when she found out that there were slaves in Mexico. I didn't know these things. You know that there's some bad conditions out there, but I didn't realize there's actually slaves. These are part of the WikiLeaks or Death Secrets. It's one of the longest stories in history. That's another thing. But if you want to see every single explosion, every single module, every single niche, we have 35,000 years of material. Now, for those who are discouraged, like she's not leaving us anything, you have to go back to two things. The first one is the Ukrainian church when Hannah was about 10 years old. To the point, Ukraine set up a church right here in the west end of Ontario because of Hannah. In that church story, it was a lotto that gives each child that puts its hand in a gift. But Hannah that day collected like 10 gifts, and they couldn't figure out, they kept swishing the lotto box. They couldn't figure out why she kept winning. Hannah just wanted the bike. She didn't get the bike that day, but she got like a whole bunch of prizes, and she walked home. And the priest and the clergy who were doing the raffling were just mortified at this blonde 10-year-old child. It's a true story. Everything about Hannah is true online. So if it sounds insane, it's just probably one of the footsteps of, oh my God, this is really insane. But it's so damn interesting if you want to see the movie component of it. It's also really interesting in the sense that it created World War III in Canada. It really did. And it brought that shit from overseas into Canada and the United States, which is the not funny part of it. While most people were entertaining, the whole Canada and the United States was wailing. We didn't deserve that. But that's what it is. And you would think at this point, this woman would just jump off a bridge and save the planet. She can't. Otherwise, she would have done that years ago because there's something embedded in her. Possibly someone kind at the medical level who doesn't want her to die. Possibly CIA who's loving the fact that half the planet's gone. Or it could just be someone rogue who is cult-like and really believes in the prophecy written that was exposed with the Sun collection to try to get these men to stop fighting. Again, this started in 1998 to present, and I'm really tired and really injured, and you would think it's a joke. And when you have like a very, very big injury like myself, where the limbs fly off, reattached, the skull flies off, reattached, like, and internals and this and that, like when it's really that bad and this person can barely walk to the post box and back, all she's trying to do is finish. But it's almost like a Terry Fox run. Again, another explosion. After crucifixion, you can look at it that way. I actually walked a whole block and back. That was a huge, huge, huge thing. Part of the walk of death, where it's the first walk I did after I actually died, which sounds really, really morbid and sounds like some planned psychotic job to mess up humans of this earth, but really it's natural, and it's really natural state. Again, we are people of science. We don't believe in hocus pocus, but God did something really funny and made the story even worse with all these para-abnormal things in the vicinity. If you think that would be the end of Hannah's troubles, no, it's not. Because on pages and pages and pages of novel information, probably breaking a record for the number of PhD dissertations, Hannah was given $2 and told to screw off by men. And it has been nothing but hell. And she's conceived in Ararat, and Ararat literally means hell or pain in modern Turkish. If you want to look at the native version, it's also very similar. So that's where we are today, and it is an insane story. But the cool thing about it is we are really trying to get everybody on board, because there's a reason those 35,000 pages were done. It's actually to push the Real Evolve exhibit, something as a child since 10 years old, hating the fact that humans suffer so much, because it's a sensitive child, being separated, extended periods of time from parents and this and that. It's a sensitive human, and that's where we are today. So if you want a whoa and your eyebrows raised, and Stormy could be my son from a late abortion, and I might have a twin or another triplet somewhere. If you want the real authentic on the big screen, it actually makes sense. The whole story from A to Z. And if we can put it on the screen, it'll be mighty cool. But between the, she's Osama bin Laden, and Aladdin is now after her, and there's the devil, and 10,000 Days of Grief. It is not just funny, but it's a tearjerker because it's really based off a lot of violence and an 18 plus thing on the screen. So there is some light porn in there, but it's a B style porn. But it's not on purpose. It's actually everything that has gone on. And, it's just a matter of getting clearances. In the real version of the story, we had soldiers from other countries come in and chop up the work. They said it's too much, but you want to see the authenticity of it. So what did Hannah do being raised black? She compared Hannah to jerk chicken because she couldn't think of anything after the skull injury. Because, she's top of the game. If you really think about it, she's top of the game. Like, you can't get higher than Hannah. But it was just so funny. Like, that's another funny clip. So between the tears, a lot of pain, and the funny, it's one of the worst emotional disasters ever that goes up and down based off a true story. So, it also is business. Because before the whole Hannah thing, she went in, did the trademark, opened up the corporate, and somewhere from the woodworks, Aladdin shows up, shuts down the corporate, garnishes the corporate, retracts the trademark, does all kinds of fraud because Hannah's a woman, a vagina, and God help it if a woman is given money. And this has been day exactly 10,051 of grief. And so if we can just finish the whole production, we'll be so damn happy. But again, I can assure you by tomorrow it will be another Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, whoa story that will probably come out of it. But we don't want that anymore because it's really torment and pain as it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Another entry.